it's always the players are right, the coaches are wrong. And I'm not saying this because my son's the coach there.
Raider Nation, we have delayed talking about this for a long time. It's because it can leave a sour taste in our mouth. It can make us feel bad about what our team has become. But it is the truth, and it is something that we have to talk about because it directly impacts the ability of the Raiders to find great free agents and find great players for years to come. Warning, if you were too fragile for real Raiders content, please exit the video right now. For some reason, we have an offensive coordinator, Mick Lombardi, whose dad will not stop talking about the Raiders on YouTube and will not stop slandering certain players who leave the team. And this all starts with Darren Waller. We are going to break down everything that happened and what Lombardi had to say. Remember to subscribe to this channel if you want more Raiders content. We know this all started with Weddinggate, and it started with the Darren Waller trade. We know fans have not been entirely happy with some of the offseason moves the Raiders have done so far. You even have the publication 33rd Team talking about free agent moves this offseason and how 2 of the top 3 best moves are Raiders players going to different teams, the Giants getting Waller and the Saints getting Derek Carr. Looks like, according to them, the Raiders have lost out. And the Carr move made sense if you watched the season. Clearly, McDaniels did not want Derek Carr the whole time. But the Waller move shocked more people because the combination of Davante Adams and Darren Waller just seems magical and special to an offense in the NFL. So a lot of people were upset to see Darren Waller traded to the New York Giants for a 3rd round pick. And many people are praising the Giants for this. They're saying they got a steal. They're saying they got a guy who sometimes can be as great as Travis Kelsey when he's healthy for a 3rd round pick. And by the way, he doesn't have many tread on the tires because he barely started playing and starting when the Raiders discovered him in 2019. And so the Raiders have to find a way to make themselves look good and make it sound like they got a good deal. And that's why you have the Raiders offensive coordinator. We're going to get into the fact of what this dude really does for the team in a little bit. But you got their offensive coordinator's dad crapping on Darren Waller and even saying that the Raiders should be lucky to get a 3rd round pick for Darren Waller. He wants you, Raider Nation, to be happy that the Raiders got a 3rd round pick for a guy who sometimes, when he's healthy, as talented as Travis Kelsey. And this isn't the first time this guy has slandered a player on this team. When Derek Carr was benched, when Derek Carr said he was not going to waive his no trade clause, when Derek Carr went to test free agency, Lombardi did nothing but totally crap on Derek Carr, even tried to question his toughness at one point, despite the fact that Derek Carr has literally only missed 2 games due to injuries in his entire career. So he made up lies about Derek Carr just to stroke McDaniels' schlong and make McDaniels look better in the media for getting rid of Derek Carr. And this Lombardi guy has never liked Carr. He's been crapping on the guy since 2018, saying that he's the reason for the 2018 season, the season where we traded away Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack and we're clearly tanking. Come on, you know this is slander, bro. You're not that dumb. And so Lombardi, this husky man right here who worked for Al Davis for some time, but then was booted out of that job and tried to be a general manager with the Cleveland Browns, but was only able to hang on to that job for 1 year and 4 months. This guy is now trying to protect his family and protect his son, Mick Lombardi, who is lucky to have an offensive coordinator job with the Raiders. You see, Mick Lombardi, we all know he's not really an offensive coordinator, right? Genius Josh McDaniels calls the plays. Genius Josh McDaniels is an offensive-minded coach. Mick Lombardi, for all we know, just kind of maybe gets McDaniels his coffee. I'm not sure, but we know for damn sure he ain't running that offense. So what does Michael Lombardi know? Michael Lombardi knows that, his son is lucky to even have a job with the Raiders because he doesn't really do much. So he's going to go out there and try to praise Josh McDaniels, protect Josh McDaniels from all criticism. That way his son doesn't get straight fired and have to ask his pop for money or go to the Department of Social Services. And so how did this all start? We learned after Darren Waller was traded that apparently Josh McDaniels ruined his wedding. Josh McDaniels let it slip that Kelsey, Plum, and Darren Waller were getting married, even though they weren't going to announce it publicly. And Darren Waller was frustrated at Josh McDaniels, and Josh McDaniels ended up also ruining Darren Waller's honeymoon by trading him away during their honeymoon. And the cherry on top was Darren Waller's wife, Kelsey Plum, tweeting the fact that Josh McDaniels was not invited to the wedding, and that's probably why he traded them away on their honeymoon. And so clearly Josh McDaniels is sending his lapdog, Michael Lombardi, to go out there and defend defend genius Josh's honor by slandering Darren Waller, because he's probably also insulted that Kelsey Plum mocked the fact that he was not invited to the wedding. Lombardi claims that Waller took off and didn't tell anybody during the bye week. I mean, keep in mind, you are technically supposed to have some time off during the bye week. And by the way, the bye week came after the Chiefs game, right after Darren Waller was injured. And if you're talking about availability, keep in mind that according to Heavy.com, Darren Waller said he was ready to go before the Rams game, and Josh McDaniels decided not to play him. You can't blame Waller for that.
It's always the players are right, the coaches are wrong. And I'm not saying this because my son's the coach there.
And the guy has the nerve to say that I'm not just saying this because my son's the coach there. Bro, listen here, Tubby. You're only saying this because your son's the coach there. He's not even that fast. Should I not say that then? Because here's my problem with this. Even if this is true, even if Darren Waller dipped out, he didn't follow instructions, whatever, you don't say this about players when they're on the way out, because you want to know what other players in free agency are thinking. They're saying, oh, I don't want to join the Raiders because not only will I have to work with Josh McDaniels, but when I decide to leave or I get released, well, I'm going to get out on YouTube by the offensive coordinator's freaking dad. And so that's going to make people not want to sign up for this place. And it's kind of surprising to see so many free agents take cheap deals around the NFL and not join the Raiders. There's a lot of one-year deals happening around the NFL. You would think they would go to a state that has zero taxes like Nevada, but no, because of how the Raiders are culturally right now, people are not signing up for Vegas. And it's because of the punk-ass comments by people like Mike Lombardi. And that's the reason why players are sour on this team. And look, guys, I don't want to talk about any of this because it's negative, right? You don't want to say negative things about your favorite team. You're not allowed to criticize your team. You can't criticize your favorite team or else you're not a real fan. There's some low IQ people who think that. But I'm going to keep it real and I'm going to keep it 100%. And I think this is part of the reason why people don't want to play here. And that's why the Raiders have had a lackluster free agency. And it's not about the price. Oh, the Raiders don't want to spend. You got people taking cheap contracts. And I want the Raiders to break out of this habit. I want them to break out of this habit of just whenever a good player leaves this team, we send over the coach's dad to go ahead and bitch about the player online. It's hard enough dealing with the national media if you're a player. We don't need the Raiders media to double down on some of these guys. And to me, if Josh McDaniels did encourage Michael Lombardi to make these comments, and let's just keep it real, he probably did. Come on. Then to me, it just shows me what kind of fragile ego Josh McDaniels has. He can't even handle jokes coming from the wife of a former player about the fact that he was not invited to the wedding. Come on, Josh McDaniels. You weren't going to have a slice of cake anyways. I don't think you need any more. Either way, man, I didn't want to make a video about this, but I want to keep you up to date on everything happening with the Raiders. Hopefully the Raiders are right about Waller. Hopefully they're right about Derek Carr. And Josh McDaniels is making the greatest decisions of all time in his second offseason, and he will most definitely make the playoffs, and that is his expectation this year. Time will tell. We will freaking see, and we'll keep you up to date on everything happening with the Raiders. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.